Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are beginning a new chapter, continuing the same story, but we're doing a new chapter. And this is chapter 57, Satyajit murdered, the jewel returned. So there is a chapter introduction, chapter overview, so we'll read that. This chapter describes how Lord Krishna, after the murder of Satyajit, killed Shatadhanva and had Akrura bring the Shamataka jewel back to Dwaraka. When Lord Krishna heard that the Pandavas had supposedly been burned to death in the palace of Lac, he went to Hastinapur with Lord Balaram to maintain the principles of worldly protocol, even though, being omniscient, he knew that the report was false. With Krishna out of Dwaraka, Akrura and Kritavarma incited Shatadhanva to steal the Shamantaka jewel from Shatrajit. Bewildered by their words, the sinful Shatadhanva murdered King Shatrajit in his sleep and stole the gem. Queen Satyabhama was overcome with grief at the death of her father, and she rushed to Hastinapur to report the sorrowful news to Sri Krishna. Together with Lord Baladev, Krishna then returned to Dwarka to kill Shatadhanva. Shatadhanva then went to Akrura and Kritavarma to beg for help. But when they refused, he left the jewel with Akrura and fled for his life. Krishna and Balaram pursued him, and Lord Krishna beheaded him with the sharp-edged disc. We stole a line from this movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but we did a play of Lord Chaitanya about Narottam Das Thakur, and one of the lines in the play was, if they believe that they have beheaded the head of the bhakti, if they want to say that they have beheaded the head of the Bhakti dynasty, so then so have it. That was one of the lines that we borrowed from the I forget the director's movie, but we borrowed from this movie and put it into the play. Beheaded him with a sharp-edged disc. When the Lord could not find the Shamantaka jewel on Shatadhanva's person, Baladev told him that Shatadhanva must have left it in someone's care. Baladev further suggested that Krishna return to Dwarka to find the jewel, while he, Baladev, would take the opportunity to visit the king of Videha. Thus Lord Balaram traveled to Mithila and remained there for a few years, during which he taught Duryodhan the art of fighting with the club. Lord Krishna returned to Dwarka and had the funeral rites performed for Satyajit. And when Akrura and Kritavarma heard how Satyajit had met his death, they fled Dwarka. Soon many kinds of disturbances, mental, physical, and so on, began to afflict Dwarka, and the citizens concluded that the cause of these troubles must be Akrura's exile. The city elders explained, once when there was a drought in Benares, and the king of the region gave his daughter in marriage to Akrura's father, who was visiting Benares at that time. As a result of this gift, the drought ended. The elders, thinking Akrura had the same power as his father, declared Akrura should be brought back. Lord Krishna knew that Akrura's exile was not the main cause of the disturbances. Still, he had Akrura brought back to Dwarka, and after properly honoring him with worship and greeting him with sweet words, Krishna told him, I know that Shatadhanva left the jewel in your care. Since Satyajit had no sons, his daughter's offspring are the just claimants to whatever property he has left behind. Nonetheless, it would be best for you to keep the troublesome jewel in your care. Just let me show it once to my relatives. Akrura presented the jewel with Krishna, which shone brightly as the sun. And after the Lord had shown it to his family members, he returned it to Akrura. So now we're beginning with text 1. Shri Bhadrani Vacha Vigatartopi Govindo Dagdan Akarna Pandavan Kuntincha Kulya Karnrane Saharamo Yoyo Kurun. Shri Bhadarayani said, although Lord Govinda was fully aware what actually occurred, when he heard the reports that the Pandavas and Queen Kunti had all burned to death, he went with Lord Balaram to the kingdom of the Kurus to fulfill the family obligations expected of him. A purport here. The Lord was quite aware that the Pandavas had escaped the assassination plot of Duryodhana. Although the world hears the false news that the Pandavas and their mother perished in the fire. In verse 2, Bhishmam Kripam Saviduram Gandharim Dronam Evacha Tulya Dukkau Cha Sangamya Hakashtan Iti Hochatuhu. The two lords met with Bhishma, Kripa, Vidura, Gandhari, and Drona, showing sorrow equal to theirs. They cried out, alas, how painful this is. Srila Sridhar purport. Srila Sridhar Swami points out that those who were involved in the assassination attempt were, of course, not at all sorry to hear of the Pandava's death. The persons specifically mentioned here, however, Bhishma, Kripa, Vidura, Gandhari, Drona, were actually unhappy to hear of the supposed tragedy. Okay, verse number 3. Come on up. Ladvitam antaram rajan Shatadhanvanam uchchato Akuran kritavarmano Manikas managrihyate. Taking advantage of this opportunity, O king, Akura and Kritavarma went to Shatadhanva and said, why not take the Shamantaka jewel? Jai Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. We have Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu here. Chapter basis. Akura and Kritavarma reasoned that since Krishna and Balaram were absent from Dwarka, Shatrajit could be killed and the jewels stolen. Srila Sridhar Swami mentions that these two must have flattered Shatadhanva, telling him, you're much braver than we are, so you kill him. And here's the final verse. Yosmabhyam sampraptishrutya kanyaratnam vigaryanaha krishnadyan nasatrajit kashmat bhartaram avidyat. Shatrajit promised his jewel-like daughter to us, but then gave her to Krishna instead, contemptuously neglecting us. So why should we not follow his brother's path? Why should not Shatrajit follow his brother's path? Okay, this is getting very strange and mysterious. And so here's purport, which gives two separate different conclusions, or analyzing this from two different angles. The purport: since Shatrajit's brother Prasenna had been violently killed, the implication of following his brother's path is obvious. He's got to be violently killed. What we have here is an assassination plot. It is well known, not a fight on the battlefield, an assassination plot. It is well known that both Akrura and Kritavarma are exalted, pure devotees of the Lord. So their unusual behavior requires some explanation. The Acharyas provided as follows. Srila Jiva Goswami states that Akrura, although a first-class pure devotee of the Lord, was a victim of the anger directed against him by the residents of Gokula, because he took Lord Krishna away from Vrindavana. The Goswami further states that Kritavarma had association with Kamsa, both of them being members of the Bhoja dynasty, and thus Kritavarma was now suffering from this undesirable association. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur offers an alternative explanation. Both Akrura and Kritavarma were furious with Shatrajit because he has insulted Lord Krishna and spread false rumors about him in Dwarka. Under normal circumstances, Akrura and Kritavarma would be most pleased that Lord Krishna married the beautiful Satyabhama, being pure devotees. They could not have been unhappy about this match, nor could they be jealous rivals of the Lord, and therefore they had no ulterior motive in behaving like his rivals. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Katanchana Smite Asmin Dushkaram Shukaram Bhavit Vismite Viparitam Shat Shri Chaitanya Namahamitam. So here we have the pure devotee, Akrura. Akrura who went to Vrindavan and was rolling in ecstasy. The word that is given describing Akrura is rolling in ecstasy in the dust of Vrindavan is not rati or bhava, but prema, rolling in great prema and on the dust of Vrindavan. So it is very strange, the situation that is brought here. We find that a pure devotee is involved in not honorable activities, not very honorable. And so the acharyas present two different presentations. Now, how do we examine when acharyas explain two different things? Maybe we should take a side, say, this one's right, the other one's wrong. No, I like this one. I like Jiva Goswami. No, I like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Maybe he's better. So, no, actually, this is a very, very bad course of action to take sides between great acharyas. We have to understand that both can be true at the same time. Sometimes you find acharyas present things that can be quite confusing, and this requires a very humble approach. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnana jnaninas tadvadarshana. So we had Gunagrahi Goswami who was saying that somebody asked him, why do we have to say the prayers 3 times when we're offering food? Why do we have to do that? And he said, but when somebody asked him, he realized it wasn't a question. It wasn't like, it was actually just in a sense, like a rhetorical question. It was just, it came with the attitude of the conclusion that there's no reason for this. It wasn't like, Maharaj, I have a question. I don't understand why we say prayer, the offering of food. When we do the offering of food, we say these prayers 3 times. Can you please explain it to me? Rather, it was the the attitude of that there's a certain conclusion to be found, and that's the only conclusion, was carried in the presentation of that question. And so one is not meant to have either blind faith or nor blind doubt. But here it says that one has to come in this pariprashnena, this mood of humility and sevaya, and coming with service. Oftentimes, actually, just by, if you're in the association of a great devotee and you serve them nicely, then they open up and they start to speak wonderful katha. They will start to present, because they will feel comfortable saying this person's an eager recipient of spiritual knowledge. We understand that the Madhyamadikari, he discriminates between those who are innocent, those who are antagonistic, and those who are practicing, and those and God himself. These 4 different parties, he relates to them differently. And so he sees, okay, this is an eager party to hear Krishna's katha, hear the vani and the instruction, and therefore they open up. And that opening up becomes present when there is submissive, humble inquiries. We find that Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita is repeatedly questioning Krishna. And not only questioning Krishna's responses too. He's not saying, okay, I believe that now. He's like, no, I don't. You're equivocal, means confusing instructions. I don't understand it. What you're saying is confusing, Krishna. Please explain this again. But he is coming in a very humble mood, and in a service mood. And therefore Krishna understands this is a proper recipient. Bhaktosmi Sakha Cheti is a devotee and friend. Or there's another Priyat Priyamanaya Vakshami Hatikamyaya Namevidu Suragana. So he says, you're very dear to me, and you come with love. Or he also says in chapter 9, Anasuyave, you're without envy towards me. Therefore, you're a perfect candidate. Or he also says in end of chapter 15, he says, Iti guyatamam sastram idamukvamayanaga. You're free from all sin. You're coming in a very pure intention. Mayanaga, etat bhutva buddhi manshat kritakritashta bharata. And thus understanding this, you'll become wise, and all your endeavors will lead to perfection. So here we find that Krishna is speaking, or that we have this lila of Akrura. And if we understand that there are 9 successive stages, or also Jiva Goswami has broke it down into 14 successive stages of bhakti. And so you have Atol Shraddha. Prabhupada translates this word, often he uses the word interest. We first start off with a little bit of interest, and that interest is inspired due to some association with some mercy of the Vaishnavas. Atol Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. And then we have then that interest inspires us to actually spend time with practitioners of bhakti, Tata Sadhu Sangha. Then bhajana kriya syat. Then we start to engage in devotional service. Then nishtastata. Then we start with nishta. Then anantaniviti syat. We become by the bhajana kriya, by engaging in devotional service, and we can come to the stage of anartaniviti syat. This is getting the unartas, the unvaluable things out of our heart. And then nishta, becoming fixed in one's faith and determination. Then nishta, then it comes ruchi, there's taste. Then asakti, attachment, bhava, and then prema. Now, these might sound quite simple, but there's actually so much to these various stages. So you find, for example, on Bhajana Kriya, there are 6 obstacles that the devotees go through. 6 obstacles in their devotional life. First one is called Utsaha Mayi. Anybody know what this one is about? Utsaha Mayi. What does Utsaha mean?
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. And Maya means?
Utsaham Mayi, like filled with enthusiasm.
No, what is Maya mean?
Maya means illusion, but
Yes. So Utsaha Mayi means you become illusioned by your enthusiasm. Utsaha is puffed up with a false sense of enthusiasm. Or you're enthusiastic, but you become puffed up. Like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, like a child who's entered school and he's learned a few things. And as soon as he learns a few things, he thinks, man, I'm practically an Einstein. He learned, he knows the alphabet, he knows a few letters. And he may think himself quite a genius. So the devotee joins the ashram, and at some point he thinks, I'm like Jesus Christ. I'm like a pure devotee. God's great gift to the world. So this is Utsahamai. What do we call that in ISKCON? What is the um, acronym that we use?
Kijai Bliss Boy.
Well, which one is this one? Kijai Bliss Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one is we say pure devotee syndrome. Like I remember there was a bhakta, I think I don't know if he wasn't staying at the temple. He would visit the temple, and he always had this stick with him, and he would imitate the sannyasis. He would put his stick on the floor and like tap it to the floor, and he thought he was Jesus Christ. He thought he was like a special avatar, a great pure devotee. So this is Utsahamai, and then and although these stages, there's certain elements that can overlap, but they're in general they're a successive anartas that we pass through. And this is just on the Bhajana Kriya stage. This is just practicing a little bit of spiritual life, just entering into spiritual life. Next one is called Gana Tirla, thick and thin. So the person is feeling very, very determined and enthusiastic. And then in the next moment, the person is not feeling any type of sincerity, maybe just like not any enthusiasm. Just so their motivation, their enthusiasm is going from thick and thin. It's one moment they want to wake up really early, next moment they don't care, like never. Next couple weeks, so thick and thin. And then after that, it's gonna tarla. Then is what is it? Okay. I think it's Vishaya Sangara. Vishaya Sangara means war against Maya. So war against the impulses. So one is feeling this great tension against all these, like, oh, I'm giving up intoxication. Oh, I'm giving up illicit sex. And so they feel this great tension between these things. And so it's like a war where they're struggling against what is called the yamas, the don'ts. I think the niyamas is the don'ts. Yeah, that they're struggling against these don'ts, and it's like a war in their mind. And then after that you have niyamakshama, and this is not really struggling against the don'ts. It's struggling with the do's. It's struggling with one's plans of perfecting, one's plans to make progress. So one would say, okay, tomorrow I'll wake up, or tomorrow I would chant 16 rounds, and they're struggling in all these different endeavors. I will fast, I will read this, I will do every day, I will read a prayer by in the songbook, or every day I will do this. And they're struggling with these plans of spiritual regulation. So that's niyamak shama. Then you have let me see. I believe there's 6 of them. So you have Utsahamai, Ganatarla, Vishaya Sangara, Niyamak Shama. I'm missing one. One is let me see if I can find it. Hold it 1 second. Let's pull up. This is all described by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in the Madhurya Kadambini. Is there any comments or questions? Okay, I found it. Ganatarla Vyuda Vikalpa. This is right after Ganatarla. This is the second stage before the war against Maya and the inability to uphold vows. Is oscillating resolve. Should I leave my family, go to Vrindavan, become a brahmachari, sannyasi, give up everything, go to the forest? Or should I give up nothing? So this is between giving up everything and giving up nothing in the service of Krishna. And so this resolve is going, is oscillating resolve. And so these are actually very beginner problems. This is in the Bhajana Kriya stage. And the last one is the favorite one. It's called Taranga Rangini. So everyone can say that. Taranga Rangini. Rangini. Enjoying the little waves. For the devotee previously, he was just sweeping the floor at Starbucks or McDonald's. Nobody was giving him any respect. But now by practicing all these regulations, his mind has become very self-controlled. He has some wisdom. He has some transformation. And now people are glorifying him. And Taranga Rangini, and he's enjoying that. He's loving. Oh, that was a great kirtan, Prabhu. Oh no, but yes, please. Oh, that was very nice class. Oh, yes. So Taranga Rangini, the person is enjoying the materialistic byproducts that arise due to devotional service, because bhakti is attractive, and the devotee who practices bhakti becomes more and more attractive. And the one on this bhajana kriya stage is trying to enjoy those things. Then you have this stage of anartha nivritti, or when one is actually really working through their anarthas. And so he says there are 4 categories of anarthas. You have anarthas due to one's bad karmas. These are, what is it, the 5 kleshas? Yep. Five kleshas that are there. Asmita. What are the 5 kleshas there? Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinesha. This is, you also find in the Yoga Sutras, these 5 kleshas are given. And then you have obstacles due to one's good karma. How is good karma an obstacle? The desire for liberation, the desire to go to heaven, the desire for merging. These are coming out of the elements of good karma. You have obstacles due to aparad, and obstacles due to that are related to bhakti. That's again like that Taranga Rangini. But at this stage, the person is not. They may have some attachment to the puja, the pratishta, the external materialistic byproducts of devotional service. But it's not that they're outwardly seeking them. On the bhajana kriya stage, this is something that they're outwardly seeking. And then you have nishta. You find this whole successive stages are given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shushosha Shadadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syanmat Sevaya Vipra Punya Shravana Kirtana Shinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hidantashto habadarani vidanoti suhitsatam. So this is vidanoti suhitsatam. It's cleansing the heart. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. All the badras, all the bad things are becoming eradicated. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata seva bhagavati uttama shloka bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So this is nishta naishtiki. So naishtiki, this nishta stage, you start to develop these certain qualities of kindness, mercy, forgiveness. You have developed qualities that are favorable to bhakti, and then you have qualities that are actually resting in bhakti itself, like where mind, body, and speech are connected in devotional service. Now, which one do you think is more important? The qualities of kindness, forgiveness, truthfulness, or the qualities of mind, body, and speech engaged in service? Seems like Bima's right.
The former. Kindness.
So the acharyas say the latter. So
I disagree.
Okay, you disagree with Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. So
Yeah,
there's certain
I'll
qualities
take it up with him later.
Yeah, like that boxing match you almost got yourself into. It'll be just like that one. So there's certain qualities that are resting, that are favorable to the bhakti, but acharyas explain that the actual qualities of being attached to mind, body, and words in Krishna service are the actual heart of it. Those other qualities will manifest in due course. A person might already naturally have some mode of goodness qualities, but it's more important that he has actual attachment in devotional service. Then you come to the stage of ruchi. And nishta is the stage where every once in a while one can be completely fully absorbed in Krishna. Every once in a while, this nishta stage, every once in a while. Ruchi is higher. Ruchi has two different levels. So one level of ruchi is the devotee is in a beautiful kirtan. And when he hears that beautiful kirtan, he's immersed in ecstasy. Another level, or he hears a wonderful class. He sees the deities being dressed very beautifully and worshipped with great care and attention. There you got Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Okay. And he's feeling great ecstasy. So that's the lower stage of ruchi. The higher stage of ruchi is some fool is giving class, but he's speaking about Krishna, and the devotee feels ecstasy. Some really out of tune person is singing, completely offbeat, and the devotee is feeling ecstasy. The deity worship is very simple. Like in India, some temples, very simple, but he's feeling, that's the higher stage of ruchi. He's feeling great ecstasy, despite it's the lower stage is when things are excellent, then he can really be immersed in ecstasy. But when all these things are not done excellently, he still feels great ecstasy in the higher stage. Then you come to a sakti. A sakti is like different from nishta. Nishta is like this. He's got nishta, ruchi, and a sakti. A nishta, the devotee, every once in a while, becomes fully immersed in Krishna. And a sakti, every once in a while, he's in the material world. Every once in a while, he's kind of absorbed in this material world. And the descriptions keep on going in more and more up to bhava and then prema. And here we're talking about Akrura. He's in prema. so much is become eradicated in his heart. Actually describes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes how different things are eradicated. Those, remember we said the four types of anarthas, the ones of good karma, bad karma, anarthas related to performance of bhakti, and aparads. And the good karma and bad karma in the very, very early stages of bhakti, those things become eradicated. Anarthas related to bhakti take a little longer, and the anarthas related to aparads take the longest. Actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the 14 stages. Even at the stage of prema, the anartha of making offenses can still be there, and it's eradicated at the 13th stage, where you atadarshanam, when you actually see the Lord face to face. And the 14th stage, the final stage, is that you experience the Lord's sweetness. And so that's why here our Acharya is saying it's a great mystery with Akrura and Kritavarma inciting Shatadhanva, the sinful Shatadhanva, to commit murder, the murder of Satyajit, an assassination, not a battlefield fight, but an assassination attempt. And Akrura and Kritavarma is there. Jiva Goswami says Akrura caused so much pain to the gopis and the residents of Vrindavan, and thus he was receiving this result of that. And Kamsa, Kritavarma had that association of Kamsa. We find a similar example of Dvivida. Well, Dvivida actually became transformed to a demonic entity because he had offended Lakshman, and due to that offense, he had association with great demons, like I think it was Maya, what's his name? Banasur, I forget who he associated with, but he became demoniac, even though in the previous yuga he fought in the war on the side of Ram and the Hanuman. He was one of the Vanaras. So we see this is just all these stages are to give an example. What is this? What is this quality of Akrura? So we will stop here and ask for some reflections, comments, questions, and headphones off so everybody can hear.
Thank you. Adipusha Prabhu, Temple Room.
Extraordinary class. And Srila Prabhupada tells us, if you have $1 million, all your $10 problems are solved. You've heard that? So there are so many stages and so many degrees of impediments and so many things that we might be sidetracked. But there's a verse, Yasyatsi Bhaktiya Bhagavati Kinchana Savarganas Tatra Samastate Sura, that if we have full faith in Guru and Krishna, and we are engaged in their service, all the good qualities develop. So navigating through this, labyrinth of ways we might be, our devotional service progress might be impeded, is interesting, having all these detailed descriptions. But in one sense, spiritual life is simple. By the lotus feet of the spiritual master, we can attain pure devotional service. So we approach Guru, we're given a service, we take it up, and we go on, and automatically everything else will be there for us. So it's really interesting to note all this, how Krishna is so wonderful. He gives us a description of how it's going to happen, but then ultimately Krishna gives us the solution. Surrender. Seek first the kingdom of God and all else will follow. So to apply this to our life, Yasyasti Bhaktiya Bhagavati, one who is engaged in the lotus feet of the spiritual master and has faith in Guru and Krishna, everything else will come, all the good qualities. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Another reason that it's nice to know these successive stages is it answers the perennial question: are we there yet? We might think, oh yeah, maybe I'm maybe I am a pure devotee. We're like, wait a minute, I still like to be, I still attached to adoration and distinction and all these things. So it helps us to understand, okay, where we are, where we are on the map, what turns are needed, what do I need to take a bathroom break? Do I need to put some more fuel in the car? What's happening next? Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu?
What if I'm on every stage at the same time? A little bit of every stage. Is that a common occurrence, or is it just me?
Well, they're passings. You pass through certain things. You might get a little hint of something. Krishna gives a little taste, and he gives a little. He's a transcendental drug dealer. He gives you a little taste in the beginning, and makes you, and then makes you want it. He did that to Narada Muni. He gave him this taste in his previous life as the young boy, and he disappeared from his vision in his meditation, and it just increased his desire to again reconnect. He does it to the gopis also. Disappears, gives a little taste, and disappears, and makes you want it more.
Thank you.
Tell that to Raghunath, straight edge. Krishna's the trans. They're saying no drugs, but we got Krishna. He's like the
Yeah, a very strong drug. Overrides every single drug out there.
Hare Krishna, forgive me for interrupting. I'm so happy to see my friend Krishna Chaitanya.
Oh yes,
A dear friend. He's helped me in Krishna consciousness so much and taught me so much. It's wonderful to see his face. Hare Krishna, my dear friend.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, good to see you, Bhakti Henry. Hari Bol.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, what's running through your head when you're on stage slapping your bass guitar?
I'm thinking how Krishna is the supreme controller and I'm his servant, and that if I can fully utilize myself for his service, then he'll do something through me. Perhaps, if I have the right consciousness. And it's also really fun. It's also really fun. Sometimes this is off topic, but if it's okay.
Hold it. We're gonna take a break and take darshan, and then we'll stay for the afterglow for a few minutes. We want to hear that, Krishna Chaitanya.
the altar's gonna open.
Oh, altar's coming. Okay, try.
Then we're gonna come back on.
This is at the Bhakti Center?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. Ready. Thank you. Oh, that goes over there.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Murlidhar, Shri Gaur Chandra Ki Jai. Krishna is never eclipsed. Okay, we're gonna mute the temple room. Okay, thank you. Krishna Chaitanya, please come back and to share. Said you wanted to share something interesting.
The temple room's still not muted, so you can't.
I
Maybe
muted
if you
them.
want- Okay.
Adipur Prabhu being naughty.
Hare Krishna. I was my impressions of, for example, the show last night. There's many devotees that come together, that come to the show, and then there's the larger circle of just the hardcore people. And then there's other outsiders that aren't even in the hardcore circle or punk rock scene. They just work at the club. And so it's actually a Sankirtan Yajna, because we always talk about Krishna, the songs are about Krishna, the songs are about self-realization. And then at some point, we always chant the Maha Mantra in the middle of the set with one of the songs called Sharanagati. So it's actually more like a yajna, it's like a sacrifice, but it's very modern. But there's no difference. If you experience it with Krishna consciousness, you'll see that there's no difference between the shelter show and the Sankirtan Yajna. All the elements are there. Many devotees were coming, bringing prasadam. And in terms of Krishna being Bhoktaram, Yajna Tapasam, the master, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, people go to shows, they go out to clubs to enjoy themselves, but they don't know how. So we're giving them a little taste of how to actually enjoy. When we become in our proper position as Krishna's servants, Krishna's instruments, then we actually enjoy more than they do out there trying to enjoy separately. And so when they see the enjoyment that we exhibit coming from our service attitude, it's natural. We're not trying to enjoy, but we can't help it. So I had an experience just talking with the devotees about Krishna who were there at the show, interacting with, got to see Kaustuba Prabhu. I got to see some devotees from New York I hadn't seen in a long time. And there's a joy of devotees seeing each other, reuniting, talking about Krishna. And we think that Krishna is enjoying so much, but sometimes I wonder if the devotees might be enjoying more. So some realizations that I have. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Yeah, I was looking at the mosh pit from above, and I was thinking of the circles. When Lord Chaitanya did his Harinam, there were circles around him and around Nityananda. So I was thinking of that. And there was a corner where all the devotees were. Vishaka was there, and Brahma Muhurta, other devotees, they were all in the corner, but where you were, in your corner. Yeah, and I was looking at you. You were having this pavitra on your neck, and I was like, yeah, this devotee this is a devotee, and you look like a devotee. You move like a devotee.
I'm just trying to be a devotee, but even trying to be a devotee, Krishna rewards us with so much reciprocation.
Absolutely. Speaking of reciprocation, who wants to reciprocate with a speaker or Krishna Chaitanya? Who wants to speak? This is the afterglow. It can be off topic. You can speak on solar eclipse. Anandi nailed it. She said this is a wonderful opportunity to chant solar eclipse. So get in the shower, offer the water to Krishna, and chant. That's what I'm going to do.
I had the opportunity to go on tour with Shelter in 1992 and make a video documentary of their tour. And it was such amazing Sankirtan. I just, it changed my life. It just moved me to a whole new level of Krishna consciousness. And everybody that was in the band, or they were all brahmacharis. It was incredible. And I was just moved by the whole thing and the interaction. And hundreds of kids would come. Sometimes 500 kids would be there, and they all wanted books and beads. And there was so much Krishna consciousness going on there. And it was the thing that Krishna sent me just at that particular time, because it was absolutely what I needed. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. I'm always be grateful to Raghunath and Parmananda and Krishna Chaitanya and Akendra and Jal Kali, my traveling Sankirtan party. Hare Krishna.
And if you have the book, Raghunath came out with the book. He's speaking about his gratitude for Henry. The whole band wouldn't be possible if they didn't have Henry hosting them. They went there to get all their music all practiced and recorded. And at Henry's house, he had Mother Yamuna. And she asked, would you mind if I cooked for all of you? And if you could critique the recipe, I'm working on a cookbook. And they said it was like such a perfect opportunity to come up with great spiritual lyrics, because in the morning they would hear Mother Yamuna talk, and they had the freedom and time to work on their music. And this was all done at the house of Henry. And his house had been transformed. It had kind of like a saffron color at that time, and beautiful B.G. Sharma paintings all over. Raghu said he'd visited before, but this was like after this visit, it was like a transformed. It was like it was like a temple in D.C. It was like the next temple. And so you can read about all of this in the book, From Punk to Monk, Raghunath's book that just came out today. It's a great read. It's similar to the Journey Home in the sense of like all this adventure, and you don't know what's going to come right around the corner. And Krishna Chaitanya and I, we gave a class at the Darshan Room in Dallas, and the picture was a cassette, and side A was From Punk to Monk, and I told a little bit my own personal story.
Are you suing Raghu?
What?
Are you
Am I
suing
suing Raghu? And side B was from monk to punk. And so Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, he became a monk, and as his service, he became a punk. It wasn't like he was a punk rocker engaged in devotional service.
Yeah.
Rather, no, he was a devotee, joined the movement, a musician, and then he got engaged in this shelter band. So it's the opposite. And he gave a nice class about Yukta Vairagya.
Yeah, you just grow the sikha all the way, and you'll become a person. Wonderful. Yeah, Henry Prabhu is the ultimate host. He got to host so many great souls. Henry Prabhu, you're going down in history.
So that book's out today, From Punk to Monk. Great read. It's written in such a way to just lift people up to Krishna consciousness. Raghunath has a million stories, but he doesn't put them all there. It's a kind of curated where it just anybody who reads it is going to end up Krishna conscious. It's a perfect book to give to like friends and family if you want to like raise them up to Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, and the Kustuba Prabhu is also working on a book.
Oh,
They
yeah,
will
yeah.
take you all the way from I'm not the body, you're not the body, all the way to Radha and Krishna enjoying together.
Yes, yeah.
First of Vrindavan, assisted by Henry Prabhu. Maybe he'll get to host Radha and Krishna one day in the bushes of Vrindavan. Okay, let's wrap it up. Nityananda Chandra, big kijai to you. Wonderful class, wonderful promotion of devotional literature. Krishna Chaitanya, thank you for sharing your realization.
Very cool.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Chant and dance. Don't change anything. Solar eclipse, no eclipse. Chant Hare Krishna. Be happy. Come again tomorrow for another class, for another day in Lord Chaitanya's movement. Henry will be there. Everybody's here. We're not going anywhere. This is a family. Okay? Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Love you all. Hare Bol.